Today, we're going to be talking about the Goodyear tire test over in Chicago. As you may know, if you keep up with the channel, I do live in Chicago, so I was able to take some time off work at my day job at the police department and swing over to Chicagoland over in Joliet and check out some of the cars on the track. So when I was over there for the NASCAR Goodyear tire test at Chicagoland Motor Speedway on April 21st and 22nd, I took some notes because there were some really interesting things going on out there, and I obviously wanted to make this video and discuss that with you guys. Honestly, a couple moments felt straight out of race weekend, including we even had a classic NASCAR style fire and mess up from the crew. One of the jet dryers during one of the breaks caught on fire, which I found to be extremely interesting. Of course, it wouldn't be NASCAR without something going absolutely wrong. The drivers on track for this test were Ryan Blaney, Denny Hamlin, and Kyle Larson from the Cup side. Obviously, that's a Ford, Toyota, Chevy lineup right there. And on the O'Reilly Auto Parts side, it was Justin Allgaier and Brandon Jones, which is interesting because that means there was no Ford O'Reilly Auto Parts car because Ford has really pulled out of that series so far. So a solid mix of Cup and O'Reilly guys and talent, which made for some cool comparisons throughout the day, to be honest with you. One thing that stood out right away was seeing an O'Reilly Auto Parts car on track with a Cup car. At first, it looked like the O'Reilly Auto Parts car was keeping up with, for example, Kyle Larson pretty well, especially because the O'Reilly Auto Parts car has a little bit more horsepower, less downforce, less drag, I guess you could say. So he was able to keep up on the straightaways pretty well. But once Larson got fully up to speed, he was able to pull away just as fast. And it really shows the difference in pace once everyone's dialed in. And the Cup car obviously gets into the corners a lot better. There was a lot less off-throttle time in the Cup car, which is one of the biggest issues that NASCAR is dealing with right now. And the Cup car is able to blow by the O'Reilly Auto Parts car in the corners. From what I observed, drivers were going full throttle for about 2 to 3 laps, then starting to lift getting in turn 1 when speaking about that Cup car. They were wide open off of turn 2 for the most part, but in turns 3 and 4 required a lot of lifting, a lot of off-throttle time, so hopefully that's what they were trying to get out of this tire, and that can have some more passing opportunities in the center of the corner. That actually looked like it created some opportunities, but especially if someone manages the tires better on the long run, which they have been able to do, that would be better for them. Speaking of lines, Larson was running noticeably higher up the track in turns 1 and 2 during longer runs. My guess is the bottom lane in turns 1 and 2 is probably wearing the tires out a lot faster, basically acting like a cheese grater. It's Chicagoland. It goes through a lot of changes. We have extreme winters, we have hot summers. It's really changing up that track a lot. You could see some rust on this track. It looks like bringing the track back from the dead when we were only there a couple of years ago. Another interesting thing I saw was Denny Hamlin and Kyle Larson practicing pit entry and hitting pit road speed. It's kind of the detail, in my opinion, that separates good drivers from race winners. And honestly, future Hall of Fame level drivers, it's not just speed, it's about precision on the track. Ryan Blaney was also putting in work, specifically practicing restart zone timing. And again, that's a small detail, but that's where races are really won and lost. You know, we're going to get a late caution at the end of the race, and those late cautions can prove indicative of the winner. Now, there was a little bit of chaos too, because what's NASCAR without a jet dryer actually catching on fire, which I felt was very on brand. During the long run, it looked like Justin Allgaier had a tire issue coming out of turn 4, and he blew a flat and ended up hitting the wall. Definitely one of the bigger moments of the test, obviously. We didn't expect to see a crash, but we got one, and that's probably not a tire that O'Reilly Auto Parts cars are going to be running when they come to Chicago. One thing I was curious about was that Justin Allgaier specifically didn't get on track until around 12:50 in the afternoon, even though the test started at 11 a.m. Not sure if that was a setup related issue or a scheduling issue, but it definitely stood out. So that was my first ever test that I've ever been to, so I wasn't exactly sure what the reasoning was behind that. Overall, though, it was a really good experience getting to see how teams approach tire testing, and especially how much focus goes into tire wear lines and small details like pit entry and restarts. This is their chance. These are specific drivers' chances to get on track at a track that we haven't been to in the next gen car and get some extra practice laps in. So honestly, in my personal opinion, I think that when we come to Chicagoland, you're gonna have to watch out for Ryan Blaney, Denny Hamlin, and Kyle Larson to be very, very fast. And then obviously, with how the season's going, Tyler Reddick. If this tests any indication that Chicagoland could produce some really great racing, I think that this test was that indication. So very excited for it to be back on the schedule. It's my hometown track. I love going there. Been there every single year. We'll continue to go back, and I'll be there this year, July 5th, July 4th weekend. And I will document that as well for you guys. So again, let me know what you guys think. If you want to see any more behind the scenes and observations like this, make sure to stick around. Slap that like button. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out, brother.